the oceans with an unimaginable display of cutting-edge technology. In a stunning revelation that has sent ripples through the global military landscape, the United States has unleashed a new breed of naval prowess: the $500 million laser warships. Their sheer power and capabilities have left the world utterly astonished, challenging conventional notions of maritime warfare. Brace yourself for an exploration into a realm where innovation knows no bounds, as we uncover the jaw-dropping saga of these formidable ships that have taken both allies and adversaries by storm. As global tensions escalate, an impending conflict looms on the horizon, one that might already be underway. Following the eruption of the Ukraine war, geopolitical rivalries have sharpened, and the clamor of opposing nations has grown deafening. Amidst this backdrop, few nations face a more urgent reality than South Korea, hemmed in by its formidable adversaries, most notably China and North Korea. Sharing a comparable roster of rivals, the United States has embarked on a collaborative effort with South Korea to bolster the Asian nation's military defenses, underscoring the gravity of the situation. One of the most pivotal advancements among these strategic enhancements traces its origins back almost 3 decades to an innovation conceived within the corridors of the U.S. Navy, evolving into a warship of unparalleled potential. This vessel has earned the designation of an arsenal ship, a title that now rests upon the South Korean arsenal ship. Locally dubbed the Joint Firepower Ship, this maritime marvel assumes a critical role within South Korea's comprehensive kill chain strategy, a meticulously orchestrated symphony of sensors, intelligence operatives, elite forces, and precision shooters. Their collective objective? To unleash devastation upon North Korea's leadership and nuclear arsenal, should signs of imminent usage arise. This intricate web extends across land, air, and sea, encompassing components such as the Hyunmo-2A short-range ballistic missile and the Hyunmoo-3 cruise missile within the country's army arsenal, alongside the Taurus anti-ship cruise missile within the Air Force's domain. Together, these military assets form an indomitable triad of precision-guided weaponry, a unified force primed to inflict severe blows upon any adversary at their most vulnerable junctures. Our focus within this narrative orbit around the arsenal ship, the latest embodiment of this triad, still navigating the realm of development. The blueprints for this vessel first emerged onto the scene in August 2019, and 4 years hence, in April 2023, the South Korean Navy revealed that the shipbuilder DSME had been selected to fashion the ship's conceptual blueprint, slated for completion by year's end. Pending the validation of the project's viability during the design phase, the journey of construction will seamlessly unfold. The Navy plans to build 3 of these ships, each of them carrying at least 80 missiles. That's more than enough to make very explosive statements against rival nations. And to be as lethal as possible, these boats wouldn't carry only random already existing. Instead, they would wield a cocktail of those missiles, combined with a fleet of brand-new ship-to-surface ballistic missiles being developed for them, and the Navy's latest Aegis destroyer, the KDDX. The Defense Acquisition Program Administration, or DAPA for short, which is South Korea's agency in charge of improving the defense capabilities of the nation, announced plans to invest about $467 million between the years 2024 and 2036 into the development of this new missile. The need for the arsenal ship, the new missile and related missiles, has been emphasized in the war in Ukraine, which continues to prove that modern warfare would require a staggering number of conventional weapons available promptly. This was the same need the U.S. was trying to cater to in the 1990s, when the idea of an arsenal ship was born. A remote magazine on the seas that would dramatically boost a Navy fleet's firepower to overcome the tough rivals was enticing and welcome, at least initially. Funding problems would sweep in to make it less feasible and eventually lead to its cancellation. However, the concept has risen once again, this time in South Korea, but still likely to involve the U.S., which would be significant. Significant not only because the U.S. has innovated and attempted an attack, but also because the country has experience in operating large ships with heavy armament. The U.S. currently operates the largest, most revolutionary, most alien-looking, and most expensive destroyers in the world, known as the Zumwalt-class destroyers. USS Zumwalt, USS Michael Mansour, and USS Lyndon B. Johnson are the three students of the U.S. Navy. Zumwalt class of guided missile destroyers. They are designed as multi-mission stealth ships capable of naval gunfire support, surface warfare, anti-aircraft warfare, and striking fear into the hearts of rivals. At $7.5 billion per ship, the ships of the Zumwalt class are more expensive than every non-American ship, submarine, and aircraft carrier around the world. And developing these ships was so major that almost every major defense contractor across the U.S. was involved in building them, from Lockheed Martin to Raytheon to Northrop Grumman to General Dynamics, and so on. As a result, the Zumwalt class ships feature the best of everything the U.S. has to offer, which is a lot. And here are some of them. Stealthy design. The Zumwalt class destroyer reintroduces the tumble-home hull form, a hull form not seen to this extent since the Russo-Japanese War over a century ago. The front part of the ship has a special shape that helps it cut through the waves instead of going up and down on them. The ship has a smooth and sleek design that makes it hard for radar to detect. It also has a cover that holds many of its sensors and electronics, which helps make it even less visible to radar. The ship has features like water flowing along its sides and cool air coming in, which makes it harder to spot with infrared cameras. Even though the Zumwalt-class ships are much bigger than a certain type of destroyer, they are much more difficult to see on radar. They're like hiding in plain sight. To help other ships see them, the Navy added special markers on the ship. When needed, these markers make the ship easier to spot, like putting on a bright jacket. This is helpful when the ship is moving through busy areas, or when the weather makes it hard to see. The ship's incredible ability to hide makes it great for operating near coastlines and in areas where the enemy might be looking, giving a big advantage. These ships have a special system that gives them a lot of electricity to use. They use powerful engines and generators to make a total of 105,000 horsepower, which is more than most other ships in the U.S. Navy's fleet. The engines in the Zumwalt-class ships are really powerful. They can make the ships go as fast as Olympic gold-winning athletes, up to 30 knots, even though these ships weigh 15,000 tons. These engines not only make the ships move, but also provide power for everything else on the ship. This includes systems that help run the ship with only 150 people on board, as well as many sensors, radars, and sonars that help the ship see and hear far away. When it comes to weapons, the Zumwalt-class ships are very versatile. They have many different advanced weapons on board. One of them is called the Advanced Gun System, which has two big guns that can shoot special bullets really far, with a lot of accuracy. These guns can hit targets on land and in the water. There are also other types of guns on the ship that can shoot different kinds of bullets. Each ship also has a bunch of special cells where they can put missiles. These missiles can shoot down airplanes, hit enemy ships, or even target land areas. The Zumwalt-class ships are like the best type of destroyer, showing how good the U.S. Navy is at making ships. But they are not stopping there. These ships are getting even more powerful by being the first to use laser weapons and superfast missiles. Laser weapons and hypersonic missiles are some of the strongest weapons today. They are very hard to stop, and they can work on their own with a high chance of success. To make the most of these super powerful weapons, Admiral Gilday, who leads the Navy, says they are planning to buy 8 superfast hypersonic conventional prompt strike missiles, or CPS missiles. These missiles will go on Zumwalt-class destroyers and Virginia-class submarines. They are thinking about spending a lot of money, about $341 million to buy the superfast missiles and another $901.1 million to do research and make them even better. In the end, they want to spend $3.6 billion over 5 years to get 64 of these missiles. A big company called Lockheed Martin has already received $2 billion from the Navy to make these missiles. Admiral Gilday also wants to put lasers on the Zumwalt-class destroyers. The Navy has tried out different laser weapons on ships before. These lasers have had some success, and they want to put them on the Zumwalt-class ships too. These ships, the Zumwalt-class destroyers from the US and an arsenal ship from South Korea, would be very important if there was a war involving their countries. They would have a lot of powerful weapons, enough to cause a lot of damage. If you want to learn more, make sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video. Thanks for watching.